Hi, welcome to the Recovery Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abassi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. I just woke up and my hair was sticking up. Today, I want to talk about tolerance of others and um, what what we can do to be a little more gentle with others. And I hear a lot in the program and in all these self-help books that we need to be gentle with ourselves. You know, I went to the psychiatrist and she's like, you need to be gentle with yourself. Like, you expect so much from yourself. You're so hard on yourself. But what I was reminded of this morning is that I expect a lot of other people, and I'm hard on a lot of other people that I think that they should have everything figured out, don't get in my way. They should know what my expectations are of them. You know, those people that when you're walking in the grocery store and there's like a whole family or even just one person and they just stand in the middle of the aisle and they're oblivious to anybody around them as they look for what flavor Doritos they want. It's that kind of like tolerance that I'm talking about, like thinking, what the hell? How do you not know I'm standing here and you're in my way? That kind of thing. Not acting rash, which is what the daily reflection was about this morning. And so I want to take a look at this and kind of really think about how we can be more gentle with other people. So the thing that I always think of when I think of this topic is that we are all students. None of us have, none of us has already lived a lifetime and practiced it and should be an expert now. Like, we're all figuring it out as we go. Nobody has it all figured out. So, um, my just as much as my actions are a result of my experiences in life, other people's actions and behavior are based on their experiences in life, not mine. So when I set expectations of other people, I'm setting expectations based on my experiences. And that is always going to set me up for disappointment. Nobody knows what my expectations are, unless I tell them, of course, and they agree to them. But sometimes other people's behavior doesn't make sense to me because I'm basing it on my experiences. And for me to try to make sense of somebody else's behavior when it's disappointed me is, again, setting me up for failure. Like, I'm not going to be able to do that. I can run it through that washing machine in my head, that's cleaning it up and trying to make sense of it. But I'm never going to be able to figure it out because what they're doing is based on what they know and what they've lived so far. And that needs to be okay with me. Um, it's not everybody's behavior is meant to align with what I think, as much as when I was a kid thought that this whole world, this whole earth was built as my own entertainment. I've learned that it's just plain old not. Lately, I've been thinking so much about how small I am on this whole planet and this whole universe. Like, as every night my husband reads the news to me. Yes, I know it's adorable. And we go through the political news, we go through health news, and we go through science and all of these topics. And we've been really monitoring the status of the astronauts that got taken up by Boeing and then stranded by Boeing. And now SpaceX has gone up and it's going to take them back, but it's not on their time. It's on SpaceX's time, which I think they need to just be grateful that they were picked up, right? I'm sure they are. And they'll be back, I hear, in February. But thinking about them up there or out there uh, really puts into perspective how small I am here. I don't know. I've just been thinking so much about the millions of years of Earth's existence. I've been thinking about the absolutely endless amount of space and time and how small I am. Sometimes I don't like to think about that because it makes me feel insignificant. And that sometimes doesn't feel good to me. But sometimes I can think about it and feel insignificant. And that's what I want to feel. I want to sometimes be an observer, and I want to sometimes just sit back and feel like every choice that I make is not making the earth turn, is not making a big impact on everything. It kind of takes away some of that stress for me on some of the choices that I make because I can get so wrapped up in me, and how important everything in my life is, how important this recovery is, how important it is that I can't watch movies anymore. I have to listen to them. And right now I'm listening to a book. I can't remember what it's called, but it has like 8 stories or so about people who have had neurological damage or issues. Like the short story I just read was about a guy who had Tourette's syndrome. And it's like the anthropologies of neurology or something like that. That's totally wrong. But um, as I was listening to the Tourette's story, I was thinking about how insignificant my defect is, my deficit, my visual disability is compared to what a lot of other people deal with in their lives. And like I explained a few minutes ago, sometimes that can lead me to feeling depressed and small and not important. Sometimes it can make me feel like, what are you so sad about? You've really got a lot, you can do a lot. And today, that's how I've been feeling. Today, I've been feeling like, yeah, you have a disability. Yeah, you can't go back to your career, but you've got a lot. That's what I've been feeling like today. And that's pretty cool to get to this place every so often. Um, I know I've kind of gone on a tangent a little bit, but that's what I do here. And yesterday, last night, I joined the iBug community. It's called iBug Today, and this is the organization that I've been interacting with that is doing the voiceover class. And on Friday nights, they have movie night. And I've been wanting to tune in and see how they do movie night. And So it's a bunch of blind and low vision people, and they play a movie for us with audio description. And so before the movie, they had like trivia and jokes, which were the funniest part of the jokes was that the jokes were not funny. I mean, it was cute. It was really cute, I thought. There's people of all ages, just a huge diverse community of people who have one thing in common, and that is that they they can't see well. So I just found it great. I really did. I found it great. I found that I felt like I was okay, you know? Mine, my disability is very different than all of those people. There are people that have low vision. Mine, I don't know of anybody else in there who they can see, but it hurts. So it's very unusual to tell somebody that, but it's amazing how many people get it. And I'm like, I've never heard of such a thing. And I'm surprised that when I tell people, they're like, oh, okay, I get it. And I'm like, how do these people even believe me? You know? I don't know, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about because you always know what I'm talking about. So anyway, yeah, I went on a big tangent. But I think that coming back to like the original topic, I'm talking about how other people's experience are based on their experiences, and my behavior is based on my own experiences. And that's the way that it's meant to be. And I feel very grounded today. I feel very much like I have a good perspective on things, on the impact of my disability, the impact that I have on others, and the impact others have on me. And I I understand today, or what I'm kind of resonating on today, or I don't know, chewing on today, I should say, is that trying to make sense of other people's choices and other people's behavior is a no-win situation. It can drive me crazy. And I have felt crazy sometimes trying to understand why somebody would do what they're doing. My example of somebody standing in the middle of the aisle at the grocery store is a very small example. Um, but I think it's the best one to look at because there's so many examples that are way more like catastrophic to other people that, you know, gosh, I I've been hearing a lot about folks finding out about family members that they didn't know about because of 23andMe. And I heard just a week ago about a woman who was the daughter of a man who had an entire other family living in another city. So this man had two families, and this daughter found out about it on 23andMe, and that she had two half siblings. And I just thought, oh my gosh, that's got to be devastating to know that your dad was a dad of another family. Like living with, I don't know how somebody can possibly do that, to live this double life? How is that possible? But I'm looking at it through the lens of my life. Maybe it makes sense to that guy, that dad. I don't know. But by me trying to make sense of it through the lens of my life, it is a recipe for frustration. So what is the solution? Now, that's a extreme uh, compared to the person in the grocery aisle who won't get out of the way. Um, but what is the solution to not setting myself up for that kind of frustration? And what I was thinking about today was that I need to give people the same grace that I have been given. And this only makes sense to me as a recovering alcoholic. I have shown an extreme of how imperfect a human being can be. I have shown the extreme of how someone can be in a situation where they are killing themselves, putting a poison in their body for years, stumbling through life, making mistakes, making bad decisions, keeping secrets. And to the point that when I stopped drinking, I didn't even know how to forgive myself for my own imperfections. Um, I didn't know, even from my own life experiences, how to make sense of what I did. But somehow I've been able to forgive myself. And that was part of the steps. A lot of these steps in AA talk about holding resentments to other people, forgiving other people and that kind of thing. And what I had to include in my steps is myself, holding resentments against myself, forgiving myself. Um, and I've gone through that process. And sometimes that disappointment in myself shows its ugly head, and I have to practice a mini forgiveness again of myself, or I need to say a little prayer for myself or talk to my higher power, whatever I need to do in that situation to let it go, to say, it's okay that you made a mistake. You have learned from it. And so I've given myself grace, and other people have given me grace. Other people have watched me grow. Other people have accepted my um, apology for some of the really selfish things those selfish ways that I behaved. And so why can't I give other people that same kind of grace? Um, I should be able to do that in small situations and big situations. I went through an experience last year that required me to spend a couple weeks finding that grace to give to another person that I cared very deeply about. And I didn't want my relationship with that person to end. And it was pretty easy for me to see that, okay, here's where the rubber meets the road. This is where you need to give somebody else the same grace that you were given. You don't have to understand why they did what they did. Their decisions were based on their own experiences, and it is not my business to figure out why they did it. You know, all I can do is put in the hard work to forgive. And that's what I did. And it took me a couple weeks to do it, which is pretty good because as Rachel version 1.0, I would have been wrapped up in that thought process, that negative thoughts about the situation for years. And I didn't have to do that because I practiced my program that is all about forgiveness. When I act um, without thinking first, when I'm reacting, I lose my ability to be tolerant. When I'm just not taking that time to pause, I'm just letting the dial of tolerance just like a cartoon, like it's going to explode. In those moments that I have those kinds of reactions, I forget that everybody's doing the best that they can. And it might not be the best that I can or the best that I think I can. But hey, what if I lived their life and then came to the same situation? Would I have made the same choice? Probably. Everybody's doing the best that they can. And being tolerant of others is something that requires me to look at every day. Now, I don't interact with as much people as I used to, like when I was working. The whole tolerance thing when I was working, I know you people who are in careers, it's hard. It's not easy. I mean, that's a given. But it takes work and it is possible to be tolerant of people that you feel like are just tipping you to the point of no return. And that's where, for me, I like to do some of that background work, like prayer and meditation, before I take my nap in the afternoon. I've been taking a lot more naps lately, but that's okay. I do my meditation beforehand and I listen to the Calm app, and it helps me just take a tiny topic and just think about it for 10 minutes. Just be quiet and think about whatever topic that the meditation is talking about for the day and think it through. And then I sleep. And I feel like, wouldn't it be nice if like I meditate on a certain topic, I think about it for 10 minutes and then I sleep and it just gets saved. Remember when I used to talk about when you are in recovery, in stroke recovery, you do practice whatever your deficit is, you practice, push yourself to a certain point and then you rest. That sleep that we do at night is where our brain pushes the save button. That's what I feel like when I meditate before I go to sleep. I'm hoping that my brain is pushing the save button and I'm really internalizing a lot of what this stuff that I learn in my meditation. So just like I talked about yesterday, like the prayer and meditation is not something that I'm supposed to just do daily. It's something that I need to try to remember moment to moment. And I absolutely don't do that right now. And I'm exploring what that looks like for me. So that's why I'm talking about it a little bit this week. So it's interesting how slow I am to be tolerant of other people. It's interesting how we react so fast before, like, if I'm driving, I don't drive anymore, but when I was driving, if somebody makes some stupid move in the car, pulls out in front of me or something like that. And I'm just like, I react. I either slam on my horn, which is usually because I don't want to get hit. But sometimes I'll slam on my horn because I'm just like, MFer, like, what are you doing? Like, pay attention. I'm here. Are you an idiot? That's kind of what happens sometimes when you're driving. And it takes a lot of practice, years of practice to make a response in that situation be a pause rather than a come on, get out of my way, yelling or whatever your reaction is. Now, you need to beep. I'm not saying pause without beeping because you don't want to get hit. But instead of letting that frustration like just spill out and cause harm, like some people are angry drivers. I'm not an angry driver. So I don't know that I ever used to well, there have been situations in my life that I acted like an idiot, like I was the angry driver, but it's very few and far between. I told you all an example of it, like the last time I was driving, which was like a couple years ago, that I was at Home Depot and some man yelled at me and I yelled back, that kind of thing. So it clearly takes a lot of practice, but I think the more that we recognize that we're doing it in the moment that we're doing it, we can shorten it at least. And then over time, our reaction is to pause so that we're not just escalating the issue, because that kind of stuff has a ripple effect. If I yell at that dude at Home Depot, then he's going to get in the car with his wife, because I think he was with his wife. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure he's with his wife. He's going to get in the car with her, and then he's going to get all nasty in the car, probably. I mean, I would imagine he was probably cussing when I was done with him. But I don't want him to go get in the car and be nasty with her or whatever. Like it has a ripple effect how we treat other people. And I don't want to be responsible for that. And I don't want to be feeling guilty or angry or agitated after I did something that wasn't probably in anyone's best interest. So, I like to take a regular inventory about how I treated people every day, but I found that it's way more enjoyable to take that inventory live, take the inventory during the situation, you know? Like if like this is happening and if I act kindly, then I'm not going to take this home with me. I mean, it's hard, but I think as much as I'm trying to be gentle with myself in recovery and not put too much on my own shoulders, I want to remember to be gentle with other people. And if I practice that in all of my affairs, I just feel like I'm going to be able to navigate life in a more serene way. And some days I'm going to get it right, and some days I'm not. And that's okay. Like the goal is to keep working at being more loving and tolerant and more patient of myself and of other people. So that's what I have for you today. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.